All right, it's May 11th. It's a Friday. It's our first Friday evening recording that we've done, which demonstrates our lack of social lives. That on a Friday evening at 8:15, we have ordered a pizza and are recording a podcast about seeds.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm likewise excited. So
I don't know that everybody needs to know what day it is.
Well,
who knows how long it'll be until this goes out.
We should not only tell them what day it is, but where we are and where we plan to be.
Like GPS coordinates.
Yeah. You know, so they can rob us of our precious items in our absence. It's seedy business. It's seedy business. Let's see, this is episode 2 of season 2.
Oh, yeah.
It's hot outside now. The last time we recorded it was just the last frost of the season, but today is our first 90-degree day. It's about 15 degrees above average here for this time of year at the moment, and I expect it, for no particular reason, to be way hotter than normal all summer.
Well, it's usually pretty hot, so I guess this is going to be very unpleasant, and probably we should think about planting things that are specifically
heat resistant. Or like, what's our zone that we're in?
Well, nominally...
I'll beep that. I'll beep our address.
Kevin T. Porter already did this joke.
Did he?
Yeah. Of saying his full address on the podcast and then beeping it out.
In the first season, I beeped only... We had negotiated the number of digits in my social security number that I had to beep, and I did as we agreed upon.
Well, I don't know how many we said, but...
It was all of them but 2? Maybe like the middle 2 or something. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, that's where we live. And we're in zone what?
So nominally we're in zone 7, but I think realistically zone 8 crops would grow fine here.
Do those exactly correspond to... I was at one point obsessing about like first and last frost dates in terms of when it was like good to plant, when things would die, and I know that we're right on the boundary of a first last frost date line here, or there's like a parabola that comes down and like we're right at that. And is that the same thing as the planting lines?
Yeah, I think that is the primary determinant of zones, and I think we are right near the border of zone 7 and 8, and so probably microclimate things either way.
Sure.
Also, I think the USDA fairly recently redefined the hardiness zones, or the planting zones.
They'll have to continue doing that at an accelerating rate, it seems like.
Yeah, it looks like in 2012, the plant hardiness zone map was revised. And so we are in zone 7B.
Right. I don't know. In practice, what is happening right now, it's May 11th. We're getting a string of days in the 90s, mid-90s coming up, which is... I don't know, it's hard to say how unusual it is, but we live in North Carolina, it's hot a lot. So the question of what we, how to approach that is, and it's also it's been quite dry recently too here.
It usually goes straight from being a little unpleasantly cold to being fairly unpleasantly hot in a short span of time, but I would say this is maybe the shortest spring I've ever seen here. There was really no period of time where it was like in the 70s and nice.
Yeah, it's hard because it's a lot about like expectation, what you experience as spring or autumn or like nice weather. Certainly what happened here was we went from, like, through March and April, we were sitting, like, colder than usual through both of those months, and then we immediately went to warmer than usual, so the difference is even more pronounced. But yeah, I mean, we went from last frost to being in the 80s and 90s, like, very rapidly, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were thinking today, you know, you've done a lot of spring planting, or we got a lot of, I mean, it's very lush looking out there, certainly, even though it's been dry. One thing we have not planted is tomatoes. And I don't know if you have intentions to. I know that in past years, as we've planted, we haven't planted any big tomatoes. We've planted...
That's right.
Cherry tomatoes.
Cherry tomatoes only.
Cherry tomatoes only. The big tomatoes we've attempted to plant here have been decimated by predators.
And by predators, I think primarily squirrels.
Yeah, vicious predators. Is predator just a carnivore, or can you use a predator as a term for a thing that will eat your plants, but you're mad at it?
I think, well, you can do whatever you want. It's the beauty of language.
Right.
You can just make up all kinds of stuff.
Well, I feel preyed upon by these squirrels and their eating of our tomatoes in previous years.
They show no mercy.
No respect, really. So here's the genesis of this segment. I came across on Twitter, someone posted a catalog description, and it was clear it was a picture. They had taken a picture of a printout. Like, this is not... in our modern digital age, usually on Twitter, you see a screen cap of a high fidelity thing that was online to begin with or something. But this was a picture taken of a piece of paper. And it was a description of a Paul Robeson tomato. And I found it to be both very charming and sort of head-turning. So I'm going to read it to you. We've tried to track down where this came from, and it's proven a little bit elusive. Once we have a web, I don't know, I guess maybe this will be the first thing I post on our Twitter.
Yeah.
But
you should retweet that for sure.
That. In the top left-hand corner of the picture, it indicates that this was at least initially posted to davesgarden.com. Maybe the member who posted it was named Susie, potentially. You can do your own sort of forensics on this, but there is a picture that someone on Twitter had taken, and I contacted him to try to find the origin of it, and it turns out he was just at a farmer's market in Connecticut, saw this picture and description, and took a photograph of it. So the picture is of two slices of the Paul Robeson tomato, the leaves of the plant, and a penny for perspective on its size, for scale. And here's the description. It is one thing to say that you love a tomato, and another thing to admit that a Paul Robeson tomato has transcended the definition of what is essential in life. The real man was like that too, larger than life. Paul Robeson couldn't have a better testimonial to who he was than this particular variety. There is literally a cult following going on here. Those of you who don't have the room to grow tomatoes know the feeling of having spent money wisely on one of these gorgeous fruits. Look at the color. It is profound. Juliet may be the tomato to take you to a desert island, but Paul Robeson is the one to take with you to heaven.
That's a lot.
So it's great.
That's so much.
Look at the color. It is profound. It's a great line. Also, the claim that there's no more appropriate testimonial to the life of Paul Robeson than this tomato is a claim that's made.
I would be fine with that.
I mean, none of us should be so lucky as to have a tomato named after us.
But
So
the idea
anyway-
that it's an expression of his very soul
Right, yeah.
is
No,
quite
it's
a lot.
Perfect representation of his person, the life he lived. So anyway, we're pretty into this. And then we were flipping through the Gurney's catalog, which we looked at in the last episode. And it's the catalog with the big coupons all over it. And it is, on the trashier end of things, maybe. I don't mean to be judgy about it, but it's on the end of things that burpees would be on, probably, in presentation. And we encountered the Paul Robeson tomato. So we thought we would read the description out of this Gurney's catalog, and then I pulled up a few other descriptions from other seed catalogs online, and also there's one from Seed Savers, which we have a physical copy of also. But anyway, here's the Gurney's description of the Paul Robeson tomato.
Do you want to read it?
No, go for it.
Okay. Paul Robeson, one of the best black heirlooms. Russian heirloom produces brick red to black fruits with a smoky, sweet flavor. Vigorous plants bear 7 to 10 ounce beefsteak type fruits that are great for slicing, salads, and sandwiches. One of our staff's all-time favorites, it enjoys a cult following among seed savers. Indeterminate.
Yeah, so cult following has been used in both of these. Let me read to you from... Okay, so here is, in fact, from the Seed Savers Exchange. So Seed Savers is a favorite of ours, actually, from the season 1. Russian developed variety with a dedicated following among tomato connoisseurs. Named in honor of Paul Robeson, famous opera singer and equal rights advocate. Dusky brick red fruits with dark green shoulders and red flesh, 6 to 12 ounces. Known for its distinctive flavor, smoky and earthy, with a perfect acid-sweet balance. Honestly, these sound really good.
Sounds great, yeah.
Here is the Paul Robeson tomato from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. Do we have a physical copy of that?
We sure
catalog?
do, yeah.
This famous tomato has almost a cult following among seed collectors and tomato connoisseurs, who simply cannot get enough of this variety's amazing flavor that is so distinctive, sweet, and smoky. 7 to 10 ounce fruits are a red brick color. Paul Robeson, an American dedicated to fighting fascism abroad and racism at home. A prominent entertainer, orator, athlete, and political activist, he spoke 15 languages and performed worldwide, and was respected internationally, especially in Russia. This Russian heirloom is named in his honor. So in that one, you get a pretty hefty biography of Paul Robeson. Notably, his Antifa work and anti-racism activism. There's some buzzwords in this that make me wonder about the politics of the Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds.
I think you know.
I think I know, and I'm delighted. But again, through all of these, like the cult following, the connoisseurs appreciate it. Here's the last one I pulled up. It's from White Flower Farm Seeds. Their tagline is "Plantsman since 1950." Truly a handsome, dark maroon tomato. I just realized that this was named after Paul Robeson because it is dark. Okay, well that puts a stain on this segment. It's clear based on the descriptions that there's I guess was a racial element in naming this. Which as I read more of these, it's clear.
Oh.
This last one reads, truly a handsome dark maroon tomato. Paul Robeson will stand out as something special both in your garden and in your kitchen. This heirloom from Russia bears medium-sized fruits with a complex taste that is not overly sweet. Our indeterminate fruits mature about 75 days from transplant. I mean, I guess I love the one that we found online. I'm interested in the one that really highlights the activism of Paul Robeson. Anyway, this has been the problematically racial Paul Robeson tomato segment. I will say that these tomatoes look beautiful. We've criticized some of these descriptions for gesturing towards meat in the past, describing things as meaty or like a beef steak, or there's the meatball, of course. But this one, there's a picture of it I found online, this tomato cut up, that boy, does it look like chunks of veal or something like that. It really does. But it really hits the border between looking rich but not. It somehow doesn't strike me as disgusting like other things
like
that are
raw
described.
Meat, a pile of raw meat cubes.
Like you can see it, but you can see the meat in it, but it does not seem gross. It seems very delicious and good. Transition into talking about a catalog that interested me today. I think we thought that the catalog descriptions were a little pedestrian in this one, but I'd like to spend a few minutes. It interests me in a bunch of ways, talking about a catalog that we got called Mowing. HIGH Mowing Organic Seeds. So there's picture on the cover. I like when we describe what the covers look like, of some folks farming. They look like drugs people to me. So this Mowing Organic Seeds catalog has some features in it that, first of all, I don't know how to say this. I'm going to start to describe this, and then you can give better words to this. But the way that it's laid out looks more like if you got a JCPenney catalog in 1995 or something, where everything gets a picture, but they're all in other places, and then all the descriptions are numbered, and you have to like go find the picture that's associated with that number.
Yeah.
A lot of these seed catalogs some of them even don't have pictures. Most of them that do, the picture is immediately adjacent to the description, or even is an illustration. In some of them very beautifully. But this one, all the pictures are sort of lumped together and all the descriptions are lumped together.
On the outside edge of the page, they've got columns of photos, and then the descriptions are on the inside edge. So you could flip through and see the images.
See just the images, yeah. And I think that, it seems to be like a more traditionally catalog in some way to me. Like it reads more like a clothing catalog or a IKEA catalog or something than a seed catalog. The other thing that interests me is that for a variety of the things, they show you what the sprouts look like or the baby leaves. So there's not just an end result, but here, I'm going to show you. Do you want to speak on this?
Right. Well, so this page is for microgreens. And so they've got these, I think, very nice little pictures showing what the sprouts of each of the seeds that they're selling for microgreens will look like when they're at the 2 to 4 leaf stage.
I can't tell you how many times we'll go out to the garden and I won't know what a thing is at the sprouting stage of it, that I'll have to ask you what it is because they all sort of look the same to me, or they don't look like what they're going to look like. And having a guide to sort of keep when a thing is 2 inches tall, what does it look like? Keep that straight seems really useful to me.
Yeah, that's really important. And a lot of seed packets actually do have a picture of what the early sprout looks like so that you don't accidentally pull it up as a weed. Yeah.
Lucy's been roused. Okay. So you were interested in returning to Gurney's in some way?
Well, there was just one There was one description that I failed to notice and read last time that I felt really merited a reading. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of our favorite tropes, yeah. Gurney's Giant 2 Hybrid Pepper. Mm-hmm. Huge! Mm-hmm. The ultimate stuffer! Big, blocky, 6-inch fruits have extremely thick, meaty walls. Vigorous, healthy plants produce enormous yields of sweet, juicy bells that ripen from green to red. It's really just that first sentence. Big, blocky, 6-inch fruits have extremely thick, meaty walls. Every word in that.
Thick, meaty walls is vaginal, certainly, I would say. And the ultimate stuffer makes me want to put it in my ass.
Well, yeah, I guess it seems like it's something to stuff your dick in.
Do you think you can fuck that? See,
well, it's 6 inches long, so yeah. That's the implication, I assume, is that it'll be big enough for your dick.
Or big enough to go... Okay, so its tagline is huge, the ultimate stuffer. That even comes before the description. Giant 2 Hybrid Pepper. Huh. What is it a hybrid with?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that it says what, but it means that, yeah, it's 2 different strains.
I forget if we touched on this last week, but all of these have taglines that are just fucking... Yeah, I think we did, but the Heritage Raspberry, the tagline is, no worries about disease. And then you think, I wasn't worried about disease until you made that the tagline for this fucking berry. When this says that the bells ripen from green to red,
yep.
If you were to eat it when it was green...
It would be a green pepper.
It would be it's just a straight up standard green pepper. It wouldn't be an unsatisfactory red pepper.
Well, I think all green peppers are unsatisfactory red peppers.
Are they? Are green peppers that you just get in the store an unripened red pepper?
I think so. I mean, I think there are peppers...
You better fact check that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a bold claim.
I think there are peppers that are sort of intended to be picked green and eaten green, but I believe they'll all turn some shade of red eventually.
There have been occasions where I've purchased a green pepper from the store and you've been angry at me. That's
an exaggeration.
Well, I didn't realize that you thought they were bad. You think green peppers are shit.
Yeah, kind of. Green bell peppers, yeah. I've got no time for them.
I mean, what about their presentation is often this isn't a thing that a vegetarian eats, but like in a sausage and peppers dish, right? If you are Italian and live in the metropolis of Philadelphia, you might eat sausage and peppers. I mean, that typically uses green peppers in that presentation.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that they're Italian peppers, not bell peppers.
Is there a difference between a sweet green pepper and a green pepper straight up? All right. That must
so a sweet green pepper I'm fine with. Okay. I think that and when I say they're peppers that are really meant to be eaten at that point, that's what I mean.
I see.
Yeah, I actually used to I think that the Tofurkey brand Italian sausage is pretty good. And I actually used to make fried sweet peppers and onions and Italian sausage on a crusty white bun fairly regularly.
Not in my life with you. This is in a previous life.
It's something we haven't had together. I feel like I've offered it as a thing we could do, and you haven't seemed...
Well, there's still things I have to learn about you, I guess. Okay, so we are here to do our second edition of a segment which we have just moments ago titled...
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
This is the second edition of this. As everyone knows, once you do a segment twice on a podcast, it will follow you till the day. If we stop doing it, our fans will be angry. They'll write us angry tweets.
Yeah, that'll definitely be what happens.
Yeah, so this will be fan service to do what the fuck is that. So, the premise of this game, do you want to explain it again for the uninitiated?
Sure. There's a thing that is a plant, and then it sounds like it could be another thing. So I have a list of the other thing and the plant, and then you have to guess which one is which.
Great. And what is our topic area for the day?
Okay, today's What the Fuck Is That? Is racehorse or corn.
Okay.
So I have a list of thoroughbred racehorses with an undefeated record.
Wait, they all have undefeated records?
Yes. These are from the Wikipedia list of racehorses with undefeated records.
How many fucking racehorses have undefeated records?
Well, the thing is, any racehorse that only races twice and then retires or whatever. So it's actually a fairly long list.
They die after 4 years. And by die, I mean they get a splinter in their toe and then are shot.
Well, maybe, but the thing is that the males are so valuable for breeding that if you've got a male that wins just a couple of races, retiring him to stud is much more valuable than continuing to win races. So actually the males are retired very early so that they can breed more racehorses.
Okay, so they get to spend their time. Yeah, like when you tell a kid that if your dog dies and you're a bad parent and you lie to them about life events, you say, I got dogs, it's like frolicking in a pasture somewhere.
Yeah, it went to a farm.
It's hanging out in a beautiful field. In this situation, that's actually true, but the horse is non-stop fucking in a field somewhere.
Well, I think that they actually, I mean, I don't know if we want to get into this, but I don't think it gets to fuck.
Oh. It's a shame. Well, it's not at the glue factory, so it should thank its lucky stars.
I think it gets electrocuted in the butt.
Oh, well, can that work for people, too?
Yeah. That's a thing.
Okay. So, what's the first pairing?
Okay. So I've paired, which one of these is an undefeated racehorse and which one is corn? Merit. Prestige.
Okay. Merit.
That's right.
And prestige. I mean, that's a really interesting combination because, prestige connotes, a potentially undeserved recognition, I guess, where merit, it's like you've done this all on your own accord, right? Through your own merits.
Sure.
And I think that gardeners are more willing to give their plants credit than racehorse owners are willing to give their racehorses credit. So I'm going to say that merit is the corn and prestige is the horse.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you support my rationale?
I think that's pretty solid reasoning. Okay. Cluster of stars. Or precious gem. Which one is corn and which one is a horse?
Well, if this was let's say, a tomato or something, I would say precious gem was the tomato, because I think that sounds more planty than, what is the first one? Bundle?
Cluster of stars.
But corn is a cluster of nuggets,
Kernels,
yes. Yeah, that's what they're called. Delicious nuggets of corn. So I'm going to go with cluster of stars being the corn and precious gem being the racehorse.
That is wrong. I was hoping that the plural and singular would
trip me up.
Yeah.
Well, you got me.
White moonstone and true platinum.
I don't know. At this point, I feel like I've read more like varietal names than I know racehorse names even. Sure. And I could imagine both of these being a plant name. It's like blows my mind that they could both be a race, that either one of them could be a racehorse name. Read them again.
White moonstone, true platinum.
I'm going to say white moonstone is the corn on the grounds of it seeming like a hippy dippy name, whereas platinum being a precious and coveted capitalist substance seems like it would be a racehorse name.
That is incorrect.
Oh man. Do you have thoughts on that pairing?
Well, I mean, I feel like they could both easily be corn or a horse.
Definitely.
I agree that white moonstone sounds more like corn because the kernels, you could have a white ear of corn and think that the kernels look like a stone.
Yeah. I mean, like both white and platinum would be, I could see them calling a attractive corn coloration, like either of those things, I guess.
Okay. How about this pairing? Black Mexican, black caviar.
Oh man, this really wants me to... I mean, based on the conversation we just had, I really want black caviar to be the racehorse, because fuck you. Black Mexican seems like it could harken to the geographic origin of the seed varietal, but I guess it could also be where the horse is from. Horses are often black. Corn is rarely universally black. Sometimes aren't there varieties that are like mixed black and white corn kernels? Yeah. Corn nuggets. I don't know. I'm going to have to go with my gut initially and say that black caviar is the horse and black Mexican is the corn.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I really was second guessing that based on how...
Well, I agree that caviar, again, the corn kernels could remind someone of caviar very easily. Yeah. So it could go either way on that.
I mean, most of these, my decisions are being made on my stereotypes of rich people so far.
Okay, how about this? Country gentleman or personal ensign?
Personal ensign's the corn, country gentleman is the horse. I'm trying to imagine which of those feels like it's putting on airs more. I feel like no. I don't know. I'm incredibly unsure on this one. I'll cut out a lot of that silence.
I understand. Well, take a guess. We've actually previously on the podcast discussed the corn.
Oh, I'll get a hint? Oh, okay. Country gentleman is the corn. And personal ensign is the horse.
That's right. Though I agree, country gentleman is a great name for a horse. Yeah. That sounds like a great horse name to me.
Well, personal ensign implies an ownership again that I think people feel over their horses that people don't feel over their corn. Yeah. So that seems right now that you mention it.
Okay. American Eclipse, American Dream.
All right. I'm very sure that American Dream is the horse and American Eclipse is the corn. Because who would name corn American Dream?
Well, the corn is American Dream.
What? Why?
What do you mean, why? Why wouldn't someone name corn American Dream?
That's so lofty. So they have ideas about
what the
American
Dream
origin story is that are probably flawed.
You know, I actually don't know when the American Dream variety was introduced. Hold on a second.
I mean, I guess if your American Dream is powering gas-guzzling cars with corn ethanol.
Well, hold on. You have to remember that at some point, I mean, owning a farm was part of the American Dream, right?
I
mean, what defines the American Dream has certainly shifted a number of times.
Has shifted. And it's also a conversation we shouldn't talk about too much on this podcast. But
sure. It looks like it's actually new.
Huh. I mean, okay, so...
These are all sweet corns, by the way. I think they're all sweet corns.
So corn is sort of wrapped up in the
These are all
American
the kind of corn
story. Sure. And also we heavily subsidize it to our own detriment.
Sure.
So I guess it is quintessentially American.
Well, I mean, corn is from the Americas.
Yeah, but what I mean by that is, as a symbol of the American dream in some way. I guess Eclipse is a good name for a horse, too.
Yeah.
I should have known that.
Well, I was thinking with the black corn and the black horse previously. Maybe you would think of that.
Well, just to eclipse another horse, right? That's what you want as a verb. Okay. I'm sold on that as a horse name very much. I'm just not sold on American Dream as a corn name. Who sells it? Sounds like Burpee's name to me.
It's a recent hybrid. I'm not sure who first introduced it.
Gotta get in a Burpee's dig.
Okay. Which one of these is a horse and which one of these is corn? Ajax and Merlin.
Those are both really cute names.
Yeah, I think so.
So Merlin is a wizard, is that right?
Yes.
And Ajax is a cleaning product and something else, presumably?
Well, I paired them because they're both mythological figures, I guess.
Who's Ajax?
Ajax is a Greek myth. I don't remember.
How's it spelled?
Ajax.
Huh.
Ajax was a hero in the Trojan War, which I vaguely knew, but I didn't remember what his...
Oh, no. I didn't... I haven't looked over at your cheat sheet, but I did just read a description of Ajax that describes him, the mythological figure in the Trojan War, as being extremely tall. So I'm going to use that as my hint to guess that Ajax is the corn.
So Ajax and Odysseus fought over who would get Achilles' armor after his death. So that's the main thing that he did. And when he didn't get the armor, he committed suicide.
Yeah. That's what you do.
Wow,
look, it takes almost nothing
shit.
to... I've thought about it over less than that.
Odysseus's silver tongue won him the armor, and then Ajax committed suicide in protest.
Well, I hope he got what he wanted, which is being dead. All right, so Ajax is tall, so I'm going to say he's corn, but before you reveal the answer, is it good for racehorses? What do you want out of it? Is a taller racehorse better? You want long, strong legs, probably.
Yeah, and I guess long legs would make a horse tall. But I kind of think that, maybe I'm wrong about this, I don't know anything about horse racing. I kind of think that the best racehorses are all around the same size.
Yeah, right. I mean, it seems like there would certainly be
There must be trade-offs.
Right. There would be some issues once you got too big, of course.
I was hoping there would just be a nice little graph of distributions of racehorse sizes, but because, you know, if they win by a nose or something, another thing is that like
you want a big old schnoz
a
on
longer
your
face, I guess, could
horse,
technically make a difference if it's just as fast as another one.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't know anything about horse racing.
It's not either of our specialties. All right, I'm going to say the course and go with Ajax is the corn and Merlin is the horse.
Okay. Ajax is the horse.
Wow.
I know. Yeah.
Did the horse named Ajax kill itself?
I think so.
Did it go to the glue factory?
I think it retired undefeated. Because it's on this list.
And then disappeared under mysterious circumstances.
Well, maybe.
To get its sperm drained.
Well, so Ajax was born in 1901, so he probably got to fuck.
Right. They don't even have that good butt electrocution yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's
Ajax
has
his own
the horse has his own Wikipedia page?
All these horses do. They're all famous horses.
Oh my god. What a fucking bullshit part of our culture that is. It's really upsetting.
I mean, anything that can be easily
monetized.
Well, I was about to say anything that can be easily categorized is, of course, going to have a Wikipedia page. I mean, who are the parents and who are the descendants of this horse and how many races did it win and that sort of thing. Like all of those sort of easily captured metrics are ripe for having a Wikipedia
old
page.
Boxers have a similar pedigree on Wikipedia.
Maybe.
Like they're treated genealogically and I don't know.
Wait, do they train each other? What makes
I think so, yeah.
I see.
Or, you know, if you don't have CTE, you retire into a training role or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, knowing how to do a thing and knowing how to teach someone to do a thing.
Certainly not the same.
Are not exactly the same, but I guess it also always surprises me when I see, like, an Olympic coach who couldn't have done the sport that they're coaching.
Yeah. Right.
For example, like a man coaching women's gymnastics, where even if he himself was a gymnast, he wouldn't have ever competed in those precise events. So, and his body would have always been shaped differently too. So, sort of advice about how to handle your center of gravity would be different as well.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, let's just do one more.
Okay.
Or let's do two more.
Okay.
Let's do two more. Okay. Challenger or Challenger and Vindication. Which one is a horse and which one is corn?
Okay, here's what I know. A lot of these racehorses that you've been finding in Wikipedia are from like surprisingly early, the 20s and shit. At which point, Challenger makes a great name. If you're naming a horse over the last 20 years or something, you probably don't want to name it Challenger. Whereas...
Because it might explode on launch?
Yeah, or draw associations with that. But I don't think a corn being named that would be as evocative of that. Because it's like, I don't know, a fucking rocket taking off. It's like a horse fucking, if it breaks its leg on the first turn, you're like, oh, fucking, just like the Challenger. So if it's an old horse, I think Challenger makes a better name. But Vindication would be an extremely weird name for a vegetable of any sort, I think. So
it depends on how many people said, you'll never make... corn that big or whatever.
Corn named Revenge. I'm gonna have to go with I think it all lines up that Vindication is the horse and Challenger is the corn.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Got one more. Gold Finder and Pay Dirt. Which one is an undefeated thoroughbred racehorse, and which one is corn?
It's too bad dirt can't be a clue, because corn grows in dirt, but horses run on dirt. Pay Dirt, and what was the first one?
Gold Finder.
Gold Finder. Some of these I thought to myself, these are both decent names for corn, but extremely weird names for horses. And on this one, I think these are both good names for horses, but extremely weird names for corn. Pay Dirt's the corn, Gold Finder's the horse.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. I feel like I did about 50-50 on these.
Yeah, I didn't keep score, but I have one honorable mention, which is Precocious is both a corn and an undefeated racehorse.
Yeah. Sure. An undefeated racehorse that died way before its natural lifespan was over.
I don't know what makes a racehorse precocious, because they start racing very young, right?
Yeah.
I understand that what makes corn precocious is that it comes to harvest early, but I don't know what would make a horse precocious.
Maybe it was precocious at fucking.
Well, I mean, presumably it was named around the time it was born, not after it retired.
Oh, that's true. They don't get to fuck as they're racing?
I don't think so.
Is it like, you know how like Muhammad Ali would be like, I won't have sex for 6 weeks before a bout or something like that. I need to conserve my mojo. Is it like that with the horses? You don't want them, then they won't be as strong?
I mean, we've established that I don't know anything about horse racing.
Or horse orgasms.
Well, I know one thing about horse orgasms. But, I don't know. I think that since they're young when they race, they probably don't stud them out until then. I mean, obviously you don't want your... So most racehorses are female, I think. Like the male racehorses just race a couple of times and retire, and then the female racehorses race more times. But presumably at some point, I mean, you're not going to race a pregnant horse.
Right.
Probably, though maybe you would.
Actually, is it like a blood doping early on?
Right, yeah.
Like,
I mean, we had at some point talked about, not on the podcast, but we'd talked about how, because your blood volume expands during early pregnancy, there were at least accusations against Olympians from the former USSR that they were intentionally becoming pregnant to expand their blood volume immediately before competitions and then having state-mandated abortions.
It's fucking fascinating.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's true, but it's definitely an accusation that was around.
If it is true and, you know, universally beneficial across all mammals or something, like there's no way they wouldn't be doing that with racehorses.
I mean, they do anything they can.
Yeah. All right. That wraps up, what the fuck is that?
Corner Racehorse Edition.
It's CD business. It's CD business. Boring talk about seeds, CD talk between boys. Mind-numbing chatter about ovals and spores. We'll dig a ditch and we'll moan and split the difference. It's CD business. It's CD business.